Hello there, it's Kingdom Gambit, and I'm going to show you a game I played on chess.com today with the black pieces. This is an opening weapon that I've been learning for a while. I consider myself pretty good at it by now, so let's get right into it today. So my opponent begins with e4. I play this move, getting ready to fianchetto my bishop. He takes the full center, and I put my bishop on the long diagonal. And this is an inaccuracy because he should be developing his knight. Instead, he's pushing his pawn, and it's actually very weakening for his position. I bring my pawn forward just so I can break up his center. And he develops his knight now. Whoops. I take anyway. He takes back, and I take with my bishop. And then here in this position, I take his queen. He takes back. I bring out my knight, and this is a position I have seen people play against the King's Indian loads of times, or modern defense, Perk defense. If you enjoy this opening, maybe you can learn a little bit about just this opening. It is even in this position, but this is what ends up happening next in the game. My opponent develops his bishop. I then bring out my light squared bishop. And then here, this is a blunder, because even though we're trading off equal material, he's actually in a pretty bad spot here because this is an isolated pawn. There's no pawns that can protect it on either side, so that is a target and a weakness in his position. It wanted me to just go straight after that pawn with the knight, but I opted to castle and attack the pawn with my rook. He brings his king over. I then play this move with my knight. Brings his knight out. I take the pawn because it's only guarded by his king. Moves his king forward. And I take the bishop. He takes back with his king. His king's looking pretty open now. I bring my rook forward. Rook on the second or seventh row, usually pretty strong, especially if the king is on that back row, to cut him off from entering the board, because we are in the end game now, pretty much. He attacks my rook, but he doesn't really think about this move with his pawn. I take, moves his king over. I take another pawn. He starts pushing his pawn down the board. I move my rook. I move my knight. I then give him a check here. He moves over, attacking my rook now. And here sometimes there is poison pawns in chess, pawns that you shouldn't take. But there's no reason why this isn't a free pawn. See, when I was looking at this, sometimes the king can get a nice fork on two pieces. Let's say maybe if, like, just in a scenario, I know this isn't how the game went, but let's imagine, let's imagine my knight was just randomly right here, and the king, like, my knight was right here, the king was where he was before, and he moved to this spot. And then he would be giving me a fork. I was scared that if I did this, he wouldn't be able to. But the king can't cross this line because the rook is holding the file down. And the knight in this position is giving the king a check. He's losing another pawn here. He slides out of the way. I give him a check. And here he just decides to resign because he's down 4 points of material. He doesn't have any pawns besides one isolated pawn on the e-file. And I am looking like it is going to be an easy win. I decided to show this game just because I feel a lot of people play the King's Indian, and maybe this will just help to show some people some ideas behind it. I was rated 2,100 by chess.com in this game. My rating is 1,361. I also had 10 best moves and 0 blunders, 0 misses, 0 mistakes, 0 great moves or brilliant moves, but I think I played a pretty solid game. My opening was 98.5%, and my middle game was 90.3%. So if you enjoyed my game today, please give this a thumbs up. Maybe consider subscribing. I'm having a lot of fun making these videos, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Enjoy it.